Hey everyone, welcome back to the Becoming Emotionally Available podcast. I'm excited today because today I get to talk to one of my clients who is exceptional. I've seen your growth in the last 4 months, and what I want people to take away, anyone that's watching this, listening to this, what I want you to take away from this is whether you're stuck in your career, you feel like you're stuck in dating, or you feel stuck in life, or you're entering a chapter in your life, or you want to enter a new chapter and you don't know what that looks like, listen to this episode because you're going to get some clarity and we're going to talk about Alex's chapter because he's entered a new chapter in his life and more. So, hey, Alex, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am doing good. Thank you for asking. I am very grateful that you are here, my friend, because I'm I know how much you have changed, and I know how much work you've done in the last 4 months, with you and I working together, you doing the work. I'm just here as stepping back and just sort of guiding in a way, but I'm not going to give myself credit because you have done the work. Where I want to start you, or what I want to ask you, is just kind of the start of your journey before we met, because there was a time before we met over 4 months ago. Where were you emotionally? What were you thinking? What was going on with you before we met? I just want to kind of understand. And I kind of understand because we talked about this, but I want
Yeah.
people listening and viewing this to understand, what your struggles were, what were you trying to fix and solve, what was going on with you.
So I was just thinking the best way to phrase it, given it is kind of going online. Um, but yeah, I'd say that I was emotionally numbed out, but I didn't know it. I would say I thought I was absolutely fine, and I wasn't. I'd say I'd been avoiding looking at some past areas of my life for quite a while because no one likes to go back through pain, right? And I thought if I just avoided them enough, then they would go away. Or the small amount of work I'd been able to do on them was absolutely fine and goodbye issues, no more problems. That wasn't the case, as I'm sure everyone can relate to or can understand. Yeah, I felt I covered, career work was going well and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I just felt ready to try and do a deep dive into emotions and come out the other side.
So if you came here and like you said, you were numbed out. You didn't even know that you were numbed out. You didn't even know anything was wrong. You knew that you wanted to maybe what I'm hearing you say, do some work on yourself, but you didn't really know that anything maybe emotionally was wrong with you. And so, what made you look for help then? Like, what made you look for, I don't know, you were looking for a coach or looking for someone if you didn't think anything was wrong?
When I first had the free session with you, Dagmar, given I'm based in the UK and you're based in the US, and there's a significant difference in price. Bearing in mind the average UK salary, just for listeners out there, is around, I don't know, 30 to 40,000 pounds a year. US coaching prices are significantly higher than that, given they're based on US salary rates. So I had absolutely no intention of working with you.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I felt such a connection in our first coaching session, and I felt you could understand me and you actually heard me, listened to me.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. And to your point, I also we remember we had this conversation. I wasn't planning to work with you because I don't know the culture. I didn't know if I could help you, uh, given that you are in UK and my whole population is North American, North American. Uh, but I'm glad that you and I like took the leap of faith and risk and started working together. And what I wanted to ask you is you had mentioned that you saw after the first session that I listened to you, but what was it? Because I know you've done therapy, you've done other work on yourself. What was it after our first session that made you think this might be different than like the previous people that tried to help me and couldn't?
I think a couple of things. I can't remember exactly what we went through, but I know you took me through one of your tools, basically how to get from A to B. A, feeling awful about something, B, feeling pretty okay about it. Um, and I came away from that session feeling really confident in myself, and I hadn't felt that well pretty much ever in that area of my life. So I thought, well, if Dagmar can do that for me in one session, then definitely worth a try.
So you felt more confident,
Yeah.
is what you're saying. Was there anything that, and what we did is we went through my typical, I think, and I won't, it was a relationship, right? It was a past relationship you were going, you had, and you were really struggling in your head. And we went through, yeah, one of my many tools. So I'm glad that, and I felt it. I felt that you were feeling more confident. And so what I want to ask you is, was there anything though that you were skeptical about, like in the beginning, given you've worked with other people, and how am I going to be different because you don't know me yet? Because being honest, anything that was skeptical, because yeah, people do come in, and I just want to have an honest, conversation about this.
I think for me, it was just a price tag. And was it going to be worth the money? The answer is yes, it definitely was. And for anybody wondering out there, I got about, in UK terms, the equivalent of about 2.5 to 3 years therapy in 4 months. So that probably gives people the idea of the intensity of it. I also like the fact that you gave people tools to try. You didn't just have a chat with them and then off you go. Because I felt that hadn't really worked for me in the past. So I took something that was very different to what I'd had in the past.
Yeah, well, that's well, yeah, you know me. When we first talked, everything is about tools and working through tools. So I'm glad they were, I know they were helpful to you. And for everybody listening out there, yes, just having sessions is not enough. You definitely need tools to work through things. What? So in there, and I know, I kind of know the answer to this, but I want to ask you is in our beginning sessions, what were some aha moments that you had, or were some things that were like, because you mentioned you were numbed out. What was the time like when you started feeling your feelings, or you weren't afraid to feel them, or any other aha moments that you had like in the beginning of our sessions? Or it can be any point in our sessions.
I'd say when you taught me about emotional safety and what that was, and I started feeling that in myself.
Can you explain? So I want for anyone, because out there, they're like, I don't even know what safety is. I think I'm a safe person. I mean, I think I am. What would you say that was for you when you looked at what when you didn't know you were emotionally unsafe? What is, maybe get into, like, maybe we could just talk about this. Let's just have a conversation about this. What to you is unsafe? Like what felt unsafe to you? And going from unsafe to safe, I just want you to maybe explain it to people because they don't know what that is.
I don't know, as you could say, unsafe is not feeling heard, not feeling understood, not feeling valued, not feeling seen, not feeling worth anything, having other people's opinions on you and taking those opinions as read or as exactly what they should be taken without challenging them or having your own opinion on a topic, shrinking to fit in with other people's values, ideas, and beliefs. And even if you're in a different, not speaking up or not holding them,
Mhm.
holding other to other people. Yeah.
And how did that help you? So now getting back to you, did you feel like you were unsafe or you needed to work on? What did that look like for you?
Well, at the time, I definitely did not feel seen, understood, heard, or valued. I felt other people's opinions were to be taken instead of my own when it came to certain topics. Yeah, I guess I felt incredibly singled out by events in my own life and also events in the past. And I think I carried that quite a lot of that pain with me. It didn't just disappear.
Mhm.
So I'd say, yeah, compared to feeling safe when you don't feel like that.
Yeah, and I love this for you, Alex, because I know when we first started working, it was first of all numb feelings. It wasn't even being able to feel what was going on with you. Then you started feeling and realized, wow, I feel singled out. I don't feel safe. And and then walking through that. And so what I want to ask you is, let's just go through this. We're going to go through this. I like this. I like this. I like where we're going. I'm just going with the flow. This is how I do it. This is how I do it. So if someone is listening or watching this and they're thinking, okay, great, he's talking about, they're actually thinking, wow, maybe I don't make people feel seen, or maybe I don't, maybe I interrupt or I don't make them feel acknowledged. What, and they're thinking, how do you go from that awareness to now feeling safe? What did coaching look like? What was it? What would you tell them that helped you? Like any specific tool or, you know, ways that helped you get to this? Because I know it was a lot. I know it was 4 months, we did a lot, but anything specifically that you can mention to them, like what was week by week, just at a high level, look like for you, and any tools that got you to now feel, like you can be, your voice does matter and you can feel acknowledged and valued by speaking up and all that. So I just kind of want you to step them up through like something that maybe step by step helped you.
I think in the beginning it was learning to trust you and learning to trust in general. Because at the beginning I thought, yeah, Dagmar appears, once a week, have a chat with her, but you're probably not going to stick around. Probably just going to disappear completely. So that's basically what I was expecting. And then I found out you actually did stay around and you didn't disappear. So I started learning to trust. And I honestly don't think you can feel safe without trust. They gave me a couple of meditations, which I found personally very helpful. And in some cases, I adapted some of those and started to feel safe.
So trusting, and I love what you said because you're absolutely right. You have to be able to trust. And it sounded like you needed consistency, right?
Yeah.
Every day for me to be there. The meditations helped. Was there anything else that was helpful to you from our sessions or how things or how people did sessions before, in therapy, how maybe anything that I did differently, just anything that, just to shed some light on.
I think a significant difference for me between you and everyone else I've seen in the past was that after every session, you always gave me some action work for things to work on for the next week, and it was normally going through one of your tools or going through maybe something we'd then done in session, and I found that very helpful because it gave me kind of some focus for the week, but also some I was able to work on myself and move myself forward rather than just staying stuck in the same place.
So the tools, and was there specific anything? Because I know we did a lot of journaling, and I want to bring this up because people that hate journaling and don't like action, they have things in their head mostly. That's what we like to do is keep everything in their head. Was there anything specific on journaling that unlocked for you from any of our? Because I know we do. I do a lot. I bring in a lot of journaling. Any of that was helpful to you?
Yeah, watch out, listeners. You might get repetitive strain injury. But yeah, I'd say that when my emotions were high and I was feeling unpleasant emotions in myself, just journaling them, a bit like a stream of consciousness is written, and just kept on going until there weren't really any words left, and then all the words were on the page and out of my head.
Okay, so journaling and writing them out. Was there any specific day you use a tool and it worked or you remember? I know we did a lot of tools, but anything specifically that you're like, okay, wow, that really does work.
I think all of them.
Okay. All right, all of them. Yeah. So okay, let's go through. Yeah, and I just wanted to yeah, the journaling, the meditation. Yeah, I'm bringing this up because I want people to know that I'm not trying to pin you down and say what it was it is specific, but to let people know that like we need tools, and tools are extremely important to move us from point A to point Z. Without them, it becomes very difficult. So, because like I said, everything always stays in our head. So let me ask you this, okay? Let's get into more of the questions around transformation. What is life for you now? Because we didn't really talk. I'll mention this, I guess, to everyone is that you came to me to work to now figure out that, hey, I have more work to do on myself and feeling safe, feeling what that emotional safety looks like for myself in relationships. Well,
Exactly.
let's talk about boundary setting. I know that we had sessions around you, right? It was struggle. It was struggle because obviously not trusting people and then being able to set boundaries and are they going to stay around? What's going to go on with that? So I wanted to ask about that was one example that you had
Yeah.
is you've been able to set boundaries, speak up. I want you to tell the people, not me, what kinds of changes were those? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, well, I guess trusting myself, setting a boundary with someone or saying, no, thank you, I don't want to do that was virtually impossible unless I felt it incredibly strongly before I met you. And then we did some work on it. Um, and it wasn't exactly easy setting boundaries for me. But I found it to be very helpful and actually increasing my emotional well-being enormously. So I'm prioritizing myself, so my own needs over somebody else's needs at that time. That can be very scary if you haven't done that before at all. But it's an incredibly helpful tool and incredibly helpful thing to do.
So
Um,
setting boundaries
yeah.
and I love what you said about I'm just so proud of you for being able to prioritize yourself over other people because I know that was also work that you did a lot of work on is putting yourself first, and making sure that your needs are being met. Because I know, yes.
Yeah, I can say in kind of past relationships, everyone I've probably ever had, romantically, I've kind of merged my identity to kind of be theirs. So they would basically wouldn't leave me. And I've become, well, hopefully what they wanted in the nicest way possible, um, to kind of to stay with them, which never actually worked. And was probably a recipe for disaster. So it's probably a good thing they didn't work at all. But yeah, having setting boundaries definitely in my personal life definitely helped enormously with that.
Well, and I love that for you because that's something a lot of people struggle with is the boundary setting. It's because, like you said, it's scary if you've never done it before. And especially if you care for someone and you're scared that they're going to leave you. It's extremely terrifying. But I see a lot of confidence shift in you, from being able to do it and realizing, oh, the people that are meant to stay will stay. And the people that aren't, they probably don't know how to set boundaries themselves and that's why they get ticked off. So I know we answered this a little bit, but I just want to dive a little bit into how you felt differently supported. I know one of the things I did, and I did this through feedback of other people, is I was available not just in our one-on-ones, but also available offline for texting and for getting the real like life support was how would you say that was for you, being able to have me in contact with you, like between sessions?
That was absolutely invaluable, and I would not have made the progress I made without it because it meant I could deal with things as they came up and process them with you during the week, which meant I was then one stage further on in progress when I came to see you in the session, not start trying to heal with whatever it was I was dealing with during the week. So it made everything more intense, but it was incredibly helpful.
Awesome. Well, yeah, that's always, I mean, it's always good to hear, because that was something, um, as you know from therapy and everyone watching, not against therapists, okay? I'm not against therapy, I'm not against mental health, but getting the one session per week model won't work because a lot of the stuff happens. In fact, all of the stuff happens in between the sessions. And that was one thing that I adjusted. So and I could tell that it was helping. What about my style, particularly? Because people watching this or listening to this, I want to ask, was there anything particular about my style that worked for you? Because there was obviously, you made a lot of changes. You worked through stuff, you did the work, but is there anything about my style, specifically the way I coached, how I asked questions, that worked for you?
Yeah, need you asked open questions, but also you never told me what to do or never gave me advice about a situation. You always made me come up with my own answers through the questions you asked, and we went from there. And that was probably far more powerful because looking back on it, and I've also since learned that answers which come from yourself are far more powerful and far more truthful than answers someone else gives you because they're based on their opinion of you. Whereas if you know yourself and you've done the work on yourself, your opinion of yourself is based on that and it's probably true.
Yeah. Do you feel that me by me? because I won't. If people want me to
Yeah.
ask, they
Yeah.
want
No,
me
I
to
mean,
give
just
the
in general,
answer.
if someone tells you, oh, I think you should do this, or I think you should do that, and you think something different, I'd say go with what you think rather than what they think. But yeah, Dagmar would never do that or give me advice. She kind of always made me come up with my own answers, which was a little frustrating at times, but a much more powerful way of coaching.
Oh, I want my answer now, and she's not giving it to me. Would you say that empowered you, or that gave you more trust in your, because we talked about trust early on, right? Not being able to trust other people. But do you feel that that helped you trust yourself more by you coming up with the answer yourself, not me telling you what to do?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome, awesome. Because that's, and I believe that. I mean, I know that's how you also build confidence that way, because now you're making your own choices, decisions. It's not what Dagmar wants. And honestly, I don't know what's best for you, Alex. I barely know what's best for me at times, but so I appreciate that. And everyone listening to that can kind of understand that's how I coach. Now, if you were to describe coaching our sessions, I know it's been a lot, 4 months span. What's one sentence that you would describe the coaching, your coaching experience with me? What would that one sentence be?
It's changed my life in a good way.
Wow. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I do. And most people don't know this about anyone that coaches. We're human as well. And I will say that you've also impacted my life. You've taught me things, Alex, too. It goes both ways. So I appreciate that. I really do. If, let's get into this because you got into this in the beginning. Let's circle back to this. If someone says, because you said this, coaching is too expensive. I'm in the UK or even in the US. What would you tell them if they said that and they could have an opportunity to work with me, but they're like, coaching is too expensive.
Save up. But also, it's really personal choice. I mean,
Mm.
you can have 4 months with Dagmar if, for example, UK, online, 4 months with Dagmar, that potentially could cost you about the same as 3 years with a different therapist in the UK. It's the same amount of money spent at the end of the day. It's just that with Dagmar, you get the progress in 4 months rather than waiting 3 years.
Well, thank you for that. Then with the progress, with you speaking about progress, what would you say made it worth it? If you could just summarize it, what made it worth working with me? Because it's expensive. You said that's a lot. 3 years of therapy versus 4 months with me. That's a lot of like discrepancy in cost. What made it worth it?
I changed with you. I felt I could progress with you. You actually listened to me and heard me rather than dismissed me. You had all the tools to help me get from A to B. Yeah, it was just absolutely invaluable. And you taught me things which no other coach or therapist has taught me. And you helped me heal from things which I haven't found it very easy to heal from. And everyone else is kind of, or the therapist that I've been to have given me the promise of yes, I can help you with that, but nothing really changed afterwards. Whereas you actually delivered on that, and I did heal. Well,
I love that. I love that. What, because we talked a little bit about some of the stuff you've worked on, right? Worked through his boundaries. What else? Because I just want anything you feel comfortable. Because I know people don't want to, like my dirty laundry. I want it all out there on the internet for someone to search for. Okay, that's why I'm not going to probe what we talk about because I keep that confidential. But anything that you feel comfortable with, I would like someone to have something specific when you said you healed from or you were able to go from point A to point Z. What what thing could you, or are you comfortable if there's anything that you're comfortable sharing that really helped you? Like where from when you got awareness, oh my gosh, I have this issue to now I'm doing this differently. What is that? If you can be like a little specific on something, if you're comfortable,
okay.
Alex, if you're
Um,
comfortable.
okay, I'd say the ability to trust in myself.
Okay, that's
And that
huge. So trust and value,
yeah,
having value in yourself.
that I didn't have to say my worth or opinion or validity was not defined by others as potentially it had been in the past in certain situations. It was defined by myself, and those are two very different definitions.
That is beautiful. I mean, this is someone that has come from numb, right? Not having feelings. to realizing, then to working through feelings and acknowledging that you have all feelings. You know, we have negative and positive feelings, to now and came in not trusting me or trusting people. Now you're trusting yourself. You're able to say that you have worth, that you're able to speak up for you. That's There's something to be said about that, Alex. Something to be said about that. I mean, done the work. What out of now, what would you say you're the most proud of? Talking about self-worth. Now that we're in the self-worth, what are you most proud of?
The fact that I took the chance to work with you
That's beautiful. So
and
the
it
the
paid
fact
off.
that you took the chance to work with me, that's and what in the work are you proud of yourself for accomplishing and doing?
Healing
That's
when I thought it was completely impossible.
I remember you and I had those conversations too around healing and what does secure look like? And then and I'm not going to get into details because it's confidential, but I'm just going to say in general, if you're okay with it, just general, not going to go into details of what we talked about. But in the secure, then you listed five things in our last session. One, two, three, four, five. They were all like secure. You know, you set boundaries, you were able to speak up. And so now would you say that you have the tools to continue showing up secure?
Yes, and there was actually the last tool you gave me, the rewiring exercise, is incredibly helpful. Very, and it works enormously. Because I actually watched a YouTube video just this week, which I thought was going to be a really helpful video on understanding somebody, a different perspective from somebody else on a topic. And I thought I could watch that video and understand their point of view. Well, I watched that video, got halfway through, realized that I didn't particularly agree or enjoy or like that opinion that I was on that video. So I did the rewiring exercise, um, and I was able to let it go.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. I love that. You were able to let it go. And I don't hear you were able to let it go a week later or 5 months later or never let it go. I mean, I hear you did it right after the video, which is incredible.
No, I did it when the video was sticking around in my head, and I felt it shouldn't be because I felt this video really shouldn't be having any power over me. It's just somebody else's opinion, which I happen to completely and wholeheartedly disagree with. So I tried the rewiring exercise, and it worked.
That's beautiful. I love that. Yeah, that is awesome. See, there's a tribute to that. That is awesome. The fact that you did it when you're watching. Okay, that's incredible. Incredible.
Oh,
So, what what would you say you want for your future now? Now that you're That's another thing I want people to know is I don't keep people hostage, okay? I'm not one to keep you on my payroll. That's great if you do, but no, I'm kidding. I really don't. I mean, you and I, when we met, we talked about 3 months. I know we did the four, but and I know you looked at me like, this is impossible, Dagmar. Do you really think in 3 months you're
yeah.
going to get me anywhere, anywhere? And I said, well, this is one, you're going to be doing the work. And yes, if you're willing. And look at you now. Look at you now. So what now do you want in your future? Like what do you want? What would you like your future now that you know how to, you can rewire quickly and show up secure. What is it that you want in your future? What would you like that future to look like?
To continue feeling that way.
I love it.
I'd say two massive differences between working with you and working with other people. Hint, everyone, this is why you should work with Dagmar. Other therapists had told me, oh, you need to rewire how you think, and then it will work for you. But never actually told me how you did that.
Mm,
That doesn't work. Whereas you actually did tell me how you did that, and then that actually did work. So, but also you had the flexibility in your schedule for me. I could have if I was busy one week, it got just session just got moved to the following week, and that was incredibly helpful because I could essentially plan it around my last time when I could have sessions rather than having to miss one because I couldn't do that week.
yeah. Well, yeah, it's always about flexibility because I know schedules, things change and vacations happen and I know travels happen. So but what I guess we'll get near the end on this is If people could remember one thing from your story, what would you like them to be remember from this journey of when you started as a guy 4 months of before our work together to now? What would you want them to remember in your story?
That change for the better is possible. You just have to be with the right person or the right coach at the right time and believe in yourself.
I love that. I love that. Well, this is awesome. We're gonna do one thing. This is just gonna be a little fun. This is gonna be the one word. I like to leave these at the end because this is kind of fun. Just standalones to just to have for people that want to kind of fast forward and remember this episode. Uh, so when we started, I'm going to have you fill in the blanks, okay? And just whatever comes to your mind. This is not about perfection. This is just about fun. When we started, I was fill in the blank.
No,
No, okay. Safety to me means
safety now,
yes.
security,
Love it. The biggest change is
healing,
one tool that saved me was
all of them.
okay. And I didn't think healing was possible until
I met you.
if you're on the fence about coaching, here's what I'd say. What's something you would say if someone's on the fence about coaching?
If you're willing to do the work on yourself and you're willing to pay the bill, then it's worth doing because unless you heal, you can't move forward.
Yay, yes. Unless you heal, you can't move forward. And I love what you said. The very first thing is willingness. If you're willing, you can do it. And to believe in yourself. Everyone ever listening to this that is struggling, is stuck, I just want everyone to know that you're not alone. Alex, he went through it. He's exceptional in that he did the work. You were willing, Alex, to like put all the effort in. Even just how difficult it was. I know I know this sounds easy because we're obviously on the other end, but it wasn't easy for you, and it was a lot of work. And I want to acknowledge that you were relentless, you were resilient, and you kept at it. So anyone that's listening to this, yes, you can become secure as long as you're willing to do the work. And like Alex said, you can't do this alone. You need help. And to acknowledge the need for help and to ask for help is a beautiful thing. So I'm going to end this now. Until next time, we will end for now. So thank you, Alex. I appreciated you for being here, and I appreciate your vulnerability. I really do, and your openness to sharing your testimony. Because this isn't really about me. I want this to be about people that were where you were and are feel hopeless and don't feel like there is anything that they can do. So you've hopefully given people hope. I hope you all feel you can make a change, but you have to be the one that decides to do it. So thanks for having me here. I appreciate you being here.
It's been great to talk again.